Good afternoon. It's a little earlier than usual. Welcome to another edition of Folks Talkin Sports. I'm Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, and joining me is Andy Yanez. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Kris. How are you?
Doing all right. James Mueller, how are you, sir?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Pretty good. And last but not least, Mr. Willy Gibson. How are you, sir?
I'm well, gentlemen. How are you?
Okay, we're doing pretty well. We're enjoying the controversy, Mr. Gibson. Well, is the controversy, speculation running rampant about Dana Holgorsen's status, job being in jeopardy or not? Let's talk about why that talk has grown, speculation has grown. Mr. Gibson, on last Sunday's show, I believe, sir, you picked Tulane to beat Houston straight out, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And you were correct. Tulane led by their third string quarterback. Let me say that one more time. Tulane led by their third string quarterback defeated Houston 27-24 in overtime. So it's bad enough to lose to another team's third string quarterback. But that's what happened. That is now the second time that Dana Holgorsen has lost to Tulane. And according to the Chronicle's Jerome Solomon, only two other UH football coaches have lost at least twice to Tulane, and both of them were two of the worst coaches in UH football history. So this is where we are, gentlemen. Andy, James, you were there. Y'all saw it firsthand. I really want to ask you this. First off, can y'all verify with me, confirm, did Coach Holgorsen give the double rods to the fans when they were booing? Or did he just simply raise his arms?
I have not seen the double rod. I think he was only raising his hands in frustration. But I from what the TV shown, I haven't seen any video of him giving the double fingers to anyone. But clearly he was frustrated on the sidelines after they had to take a knee going into overtime.
James, did you see anything like the double rods, or you just saw him raise his arms up?
From my angle, it just looked like his hands. But I'm not 100% sure. Like, I can't completely confirm. But, yeah, I think it was just his hands.
I think that would have been caught on video somewhere, and I haven't seen it. So
I agree. But someone said that Dana did do that, flip the birds to the fans. The fans booed Friday. I think, Andy, you can comment better, because we all believe the fans were booing Dana and the coaches instead of the players. But take it from there.
Oh, absolutely. They were booing the coaches, in particular, probably Dana Holgorsen and his staff. And it just comes to the multiple instances when the boos really got loud. I think that the biggest kind of breaking point came at the end of the fourth quarter, at the end of regulation there, when Houston, they had a good chunk of time to be able to try to drive down the field and walk off the game with at least set up in field goal position. That drive went nowhere. They ended up going backwards, and long story short, they ended up having to settle for a knee and play for the overtime. And as Clayton Tune took that knee, it really got loud with a lot of chorus of boos. And that's when the camera cut to Dana Holgorsen throwing his hands up in frustration. But they're not booing the players. They're booing the coaching staff, just because they're at a point, Houston fans are, where they're just frustrated with, especially when it comes to the offense. It was kind of Dana Holgorsen's calling card heading into when he first joined Houston, and that just has looked super inconsistent and really not good at all throughout most of the season.
James, before you add your 3 cents, Will, in the last, 40 seconds after Tulane tied it up in the fourth quarter, roughly, Houston had 3 timeouts. Okay, a chance to, right? They had 3 timeouts, right, guys?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
And went backwards.
Wow.
it was.
Well, they had
a tragedy of errors. It was just embarrassing. It really.
And it went back. It went back to kind of the calling card of the season, because that drive actually started off with an 18-yard completion to Tank Dell, and then they got called for holding. That set them back 10 yards. They used their first timeout. Then they were at their own 45-yard line. They were at midfield. They probably needed about 20, 25 more yards to at least give themselves a chance to kick the game-winning field goal. The holding penalty pushed them back 10 yards. Then they threw it to Christian Trahan for an incompletion. They got called for another. I think they got called for delay of game, which is what really started fans getting booed again. So that pushed them back all the way to the 30-yard line, and then they kind of threw in the white flag after that because they just opted to run with Brandon Campbell, who went nowhere, and then they just took the knee to end the fourth quarter.
It wasn't the delay of game after a timeout, right?
Yeah, it was after an incompletion, but I mean,
Okay.
But they had a timeout. They called a timeout the play before. Then there was the incompletion. Then the delay of game. But still, in under a minute situation, a delay of game should never be an issue.
Yeah. So, Will, that's gives you an idea of how the game ended, and then the offense in the overtime only got a field goal. Defense gave up a touchdown, and that was
Can
it.
we talk about that overtime? Because please. Can we talk about that?
Go ahead.
I've never seen, and to me, this is coaching 101. And maybe he explained this post game. I hope somebody asked him this. But who takes the ball first in overtime? You put your defense on the field first, then you see what you have to do. But he took the ball. No, first of all, I'm in Richmond, Virginia. I'm in a hotel restaurant. I'm not watching the game. I just happen to get an alert. Tulane ties it up with less than a minute to go. And I'll look up and the game is on. And I see it, no sound. I see the caption. And he takes the ball. I'm like, who takes the ball first in overtime? Was that asked?
I mean, he's done it all three times. He said analytically there's like a 53% chance of winning if you take the ball first over like the last 3 years. And it was asked in the post game, like, did you ever reconsider it? And he declined to answer that. He's like, we don't need to go over this again. The offense failed to do their job. But after the UTSA game, that first game, when they decided to take the ball first, he gave like a long answer about how they did this deep study. And like I said, it was like a 53% chance of winning if you had the ball first over the last like 6 years, 56% over the last 3 or something. So there's a slight advantage they found to taking the ball first. I still don't get it because I'm like you. I like to know what my offense has to do when they get the ball. But
how did 56% work on Friday night?
They're 1-2 in overtime this year. So
1-2. Hey, there you go.
33%.
Right. Like, I saw that. And I'm like, and I text KT. I'm like, are you serious? Who takes the ball first in overtime? That's crazy. Wow. Okay.
But it just adds to more of what he said post game. He's at a loss. He's 5 games in, 3 overtimes. He doesn't know what's wrong. If he did, he'd fix it. That's another frustrating part for the fans is that the head coach does not seem to know how to fix the issues.
Then why is he the head coach?
Thank you. Which is where we're going to go now, guys.
Go Cougars. I'm sorry.
More, and it's just fans
Yeah.
are frustrated and asking for a buyout, Dana to be gone, etc.
Yeah.
It's interesting today, I guess it was today, at least 2 media outlets wrote saying, and a friend of mine said it was like as many as 5, wrote saying that Dana is not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen. The money's too big, etc. My response to him was the fact that outlets are now reporting and stating that Dana is not going anywhere indicates to me that it's being discussed. Okay, so trust me on that. I got a text from a person, how we do it, Will? A friend of the program.
Yes.
Who says he's lost the team, he's lost the players, and hopes that the higher-ups are at least discussing a buyout.
Imagine that. He lost the players. I wonder why.
I wonder why.
How'd that happen?
Okay, so I'm saying that's news to Andy and James because I didn't share that with them until now on the air. I wanted to get the reaction live on the air on FTS. I got that information about 45, maybe an hour ago, that he's lost the team and hopefully it's being discussed. Okay, so my colleagues who wrote the articles, We'll see who's going to be right. But Andy James, your initial reaction to what I just said.
I'll take it first, and I think, like you said, Kris, who that person was that told you they hope that it is being discussed. I think you actually absolutely have to do it. To the fact that what you're reporting that they told you that he's lost the locker room, that can't have. It's still you're 2-3. Where could you go from there? You at the end of the day, you got to cut your losses if that's true. If what they told you is true, heading into the Big 12, is there really any way they can salvage it? And I said it after Let's Rage Coogs, where all signals are pointing that they're going to get ran out the field in Memphis. And if that's what you said is true, there's no reason to continue going with Holgorsen, in my opinion. It needs to be cut your losses while you still can, take the L and try to rebuild again, try to find someone else.
James, what do you say?
Yeah, I think there's definitely like frustration in the higher ups, but I don't see them making a move just because, like what I said with Let's Rage Coogs, like UH just doesn't have the boosters that are going to put that money unless Tilman wants to do it himself.
True. And that'd be firing his friend, his buddy, basically. Yeah. Tilman pushed for this hire.
That's another reason. Like I don't think like with Tilman and Holgorsen's relationship that makes it more complicated. Where I doubt that he's going to put, basically pay the buyout himself just because of that friendship. So, yes, I 100% agree. There should be conversations, especially this is going into this season. You look at it, it should have been one of the most important seasons in the program's history. You're heading into a Power 5 conference for the first time. You want to have some momentum going in there. And when they set the extension, they were sending a message, Dana's our guy. If we believe in him, he's going to lead us there. After this, I mean, I'm sure there's some discussions, but I just don't see it happening just because financially, I don't see how they're going to gather that support.
And I agree with what you guys said, but you know how I'm going to respond to it. They need the people who have made contributions to the Houston Rise Foundation. They need to pull their money together to get Dana out of here. Because if Dana's lost the locker room, and Will, I don't know if I sent it to you, but Andy, is Alton McCaskill's tweet that he liked still on his Twitter account?
I can.
But there's a tweet by a fan who said at times the Houston offense is unwatchable. Houston's Willy Gibson, Houston's best running back, who's out for the year with ACL, freshman star last season, liked that tweet. It's still up there as of yesterday. It was still up.
Wow. It's still there still. It's still up.
Okay. So I would assume he's heard from folks about it, take it down, and he hasn't. So that says something to me. That indicates something to me. So I think we got just lost some. What happened there?
We had an audio issue.
So line up a guest, a special young man should be joining us shortly. Will, what happened to Will? Will popped out too. There we go. Okay. But Tilman was Dana's hire. You can say Chris Pesman's hire. Y'all know I thought the extension was a joke, was a mistake, giving him that based on a soft schedule, all those things. But keeping Dana.
We have the proof that we're not lying. There it is.
There it is.
This is like this Houston offense is unwatchable at times, liked by Alton McCaskill, and it is still up there as of today.
So that could indicate that the players are not thrilled with Coach Holgorsen either, or someone on the staff, coaching staff, what have you, which keeps adding to our point. But if you bring Dana back, I don't care what they do the rest of this year. But starting with Friday in Memphis, if they lose Friday in Memphis at 2-4, 0-2 in the American Athletic Conference, Mr. Gibson.
They're not in the Big 12?
In the AAC.
They're
not yet in the Big 12. Not yet.
Oh.
Nope.
Oh.
So they'll be 0-2 in conference play. They're losing the fans right now. Yesterday's college game at, Sam Houston State, the Piney Woods Cup, whatever it is, had more fans there than Houston's game on Friday.
Oh, what was the crowd?
It was like 24,000 guys, wasn't it right? Something like 24,000 Friday night at Houston.
Yeah.
Let me
Piney Woods
I
had
can
like
get that number.
28,000 in
Yeah.
NRG Stadium. Okay, so you bring Dana back.
24,319.
Did they fix it? Did they fix the issue? I'm sorry.
I don't think there's been a ticket issue now.
Okay.
No,
Well,
There
they've
has-
had 6,000 less fans to worry about.
yeah. So my issue is if you bring him back next year, they're not going to win the conference championship this year. That would shock all of us if they turned things around and came back to win the AAC championship game. It would stun everybody. Barring that, you would limp into the Big 12 with a coach coming off a disappointing season because a lot of folks, not us, but a lot of folks believe the team was going to do big things this year and could be the next Cincinnati, which we all thought was a lie, was a joke. But other folks thought they had high expectations going to this season. Well, they're not going to have any expectations next season. So Dana comes back. If the staff stays the same, which fans at minimum want changes to the staff, especially OC. What incentive is it for fans to spend money to see this same product next year in a better conference?
Zero.
The
So
only
you're losing-
incentive is if you're the opposing fans. You want to go watch your team beat up on someone.
So could that could be Tilman, Pesman, and Dana's defenders? Well, fans are coming to the games. They're buying tickets. Yeah, but it's it's the opponent. They're not coming to see you. So that I understand what you're saying about the money. The buyout is huge. But at some point, if he's lost the team, and we're not gonna, the players aren't gonna tell us that on the record. We're not gonna know that. But their actions, slowly but surely, getting a win about that. It might have all started from the "we need better players" comment. He could have lost them then. This season could go down the toilet.
I think, Chris, the players are already telling us what the young man's like.
Well, like I said, I'm putting all the dots out there for people to connect or ignore whatever they want to do with it. Okay, and that includes the higher ups.
What is the buyout? Do we know?
It's 11.3 by the end of this year, starting at 9.3 January 1st. Now, we're not sure if that has to be paid, in 2 months, total, or if they can split it up into 3 years or whatever. Not about the particulars about how long it would take to pay out the buyout.
I'm quite sure there's offset if he gets another job.
Which who's gonna hire him? as head coach, who's gonna hire him?
No. It does. If you get most contracts is offset language. Even if he's OC somewhere, whatever he's making,
right.
$500,000, that money stays in Houston. So I don't know.
All right, let me see real quick. Jalen, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. All right, all right. So we're gonna go to. I'm gonna age myself with this one, but here we go. Jaland Lowe. I got you now. There we go. Yeah, you hear me?
Hello?
Jalen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Joining us is Jaland Lowe here on Folks Talkin Sports. And Andy, if you don't mind, his Twitter account is just that, his name together. So retweet or add him so folks know to tune in right now. Yesterday, 5 p.m. Central Time, Jaland Lowe announced his college choice. He chose Pitt, be a Pitt Panther.
Yes, sir.
So what was your reasons behind choosing Pitt? First of all, congratulations on your choice. And let me also add, I got to do this for the committee. He's also a 2022 finalist for the Guy V. Lewis Award. So we're trying to do a better job promoting the young men who are continuing their careers in college. So another reason why I want to get him on the show. But yeah, just talk about it for a few moments. Dana, what was your thought process in choosing Pitt?
Really, the relationship with the coaching staff, that was great from the start. The opportunity presented there, that was really a big factor in why I chose them. The playing style and really just the culture that they have up there and what they're building up there is what got me really excited and really ultimately made my choice.
How many other schools did you make official visit besides Pitt?
About five other schools.
And who were they?
It was Oklahoma State, Rice, SMU, Memphis, and Pitt was it. So it was just those five.
And who did you visit last of those five?
Memphis.
Okay, so I knew that, but I wanted to get my reaction of my colleagues. So check that out, Will, Andy, James. He visited Memphis last and still chose Pitt. So folks who talk about Penny's a great closer, well, not in this case. So I just want to put that out there. But Jalen, did your dad, your parents have any influence in your decision, or this is all you?
Of course, they had influence. Asking them questions, seeing their thoughts about each school, but ultimately it was my decision at the end of the day. Seeing and doing what's best for me and what I thought, and they asked me what I think the best decision is, and I chose Pitt.
And did the coaches talk to you how they plan to utilize you and your skills at Pitt?
Yes, sir. Really, just playing my way I played my whole life, my AAU career this past summer, being a 2-point guard, a playmaker, play fast, play pick and rolls, be a great leader. That's really what they asked from me.
And who's head coach at Pitt?
Coach Capel.
Hear that, Will? I just want to have that out there too. Jeff Capel's at Pitt. That's for you, Will. Okay, that's for you, Will. All right.
Ask a question.
Yeah, you please, by all means.
All right. First of all, Jalen, congratulations on your decision. That's to you. What are your thoughts as far as going into the ACC, one of probably the premier basketball conference in America? Some would say with North Carolina and Pitt and those other schools. What are your thoughts?
It's what I guess really every kid wanted to play in growing up. You always think of some blue blood schools like North Carolina and Duke. You see a lot of great guards come out from the ACC also. So, I mean, ACC is where you kind of want to be at. And it's one of the best conferences in the country, great competition. So, that's where I want to go.
Andy, James, do you have questions for him?
Yeah. Or go ahead, Andy.
James, you can go first.
Okay. Hey, Jalen. You talked about the Pitt culture playing a part in your choice. Can you just expand on that a little more? Sort of what appealed to you about their culture and sort of what they're doing with that program right now?
They're really trying to build right now. They have 2 really other great commits right now that I think are really good that are coming in next year also. They're really trying to rebuild almost. But they've done a great part in putting some really good pieces together right now. And I just see myself and the other guys that we're recruiting just fitting in great up there.
Yeah, Jalen, first, like Will said, congratulations. As you embark, you're about to start your new college journey. But I'm just curious from like the whole process, what was that like? Like whenever you first got offers, like what was that process like in terms of schools reaching out to you? Like I'm sure it's probably a little surreal whenever you first started getting some of those offers.
It was definitely surreal. I mean, always wanted as a kid. I saw older people, all like guys growing up around me. They all went through it. But to be honest, at the end of the day, it was a little tiring. I mean, it's a lot that goes in it. I feel like that most people don't see, but I really enjoyed it the whole time because at the end of the day, I mean, I was blessed to be put in that position to have coaches calling and have offers at the end of the day. So, I mean, it was just a great experience overall.
And what high school are you attending?
I'm at Thurgood Marshall, Fort Bend Marshall.
And what AAU team do you play for?
I play with Houston Hoops.
Your dad told me that you had a game today in Jim Hicks 16 extravaganzas. How'd you guys do?
We played 2 games. We played 3 games today. We won the first 2. We just lost by 4 to Tascasita.
So
in the final 4, yeah.
And when did that game end?
What time is it? It ended around. It ended at 3.
At 3. So
Yes.
he was kind enough to join us roughly 45 minutes after he played a game, his third game today. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. I'm showing my age. He doesn't remember me for anything, but I remember him when he's running around basketball gym to probably 4 or 5 years old, running around on some of the grassroots and stuff because I've known his dad forever. So I'm very happy that I'm happy for you. But who was your first visit, official visit? Because you said Memphis was your last one. But where was Pitt in that? First, second, third, or fourth?
Pitt was actually 4th. I took my first official visit to Oklahoma State during my junior summer. Yeah, it was first to Oklahoma State, then it was to SMU, then Rice, then Pitt was afterwards. Yes, sir.
And without criticizing any of the other schools, did you notice a big difference in their recruiting pitch to you?
I wouldn't say such a big difference. I feel the way they explain different terms and how they would utilize me and what they were building, I think that just appealed to me more than some of the others. It wasn't really just how they recruited me, like who called more or who said whatever like that kids want to hear nowadays. It's really just showing. They really showed me what they're building and what they're doing and how I really fit. So that's how it was.
Did the Pitt promise you would start immediately?
No, I got to work for that.
Okay. I just want to make sure how that worked, So did any of the programs, don't say a name, but did any of them promise you, say if you would start immediately if you came to them?
I mean, they said that, but I mean, at the end of the day, I can't really trust their word on that one. I mean, I got to go anywhere and prove that I deserve that starting position. But yeah, I mean, they use it as a pitch.
What are your expectations for your senior year at Marshall?
Really just overall, is win a state championship. That's my main goal. I have little side goals in there and stuff like that, but ultimately it's a state championship.
Do you mind sharing with us some of your side goals?
One, Guy V. Lewis Award. One is a Texas Gatorade Player of the Year. Those are my two main ones that I've kind of kept my eye on a little bit for my high school career. And then I mean that's really what I've been focusing on this year.
Well, I gotta say it, guys. As a member of the Guy V. Lewis Award Committee, to hear a young man mention the Guy V. Lewis Award as one of his goals, that warms my heart right there. So we're doing something right. So, and he has a chance to be, probably just a small handful of players to repeat as finalists. So he has a great chance to do that. It's probably like less than 3 who've been repeat finalists. So, Jalen, I wish you luck. Thank your dad for helping me arrange this. You taking time to talk to us. Andy, James, Will, do I have any more questions before you let him go?
Yeah, I'll go with an easy one. Who's your favorite NBA player right now or college player?
I don't have a college. I feel like I'm too close in age to have a favorite college one, but NBA, definitely been Trae Young. Trae Young's definitely my favorite player for the past since he was in college, actually.
Do you have Trae Young range?
Getting there. It's working. I'm working on it. I wouldn't say it's like his yet, but I'm definitely working on it.
All right, James, Will, any last questions for Jalen?
Not for me.
All right, Jalen, thank you very much for taking time to join us on Folks Talkin Sports. We really appreciate it. And I'm going to try to see you play this season at some point. And I have a sneaking suspicion I'll see you in March at the Guy V. Lewis Award reception. And stay tuned because we're going to announce our watch list for top 50, hopefully in about 4 weeks.
For sure. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
You take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. That was good.
Great get.
Thank you, sir. And that is for folks who are watching us on Twitter and on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. That is another thing that I'd like FTS to grow into, to have high school players discuss their commitments to college choices, live on the show. Eventually, I like FTS to be like a destination choice for kids to say, I want to announce my choice on FTS.
Yep.
So, that's down the line too. Let's put that out there as well. So I know, like I said, known Jalen's dad for 15, 16 years, something like that. So, it's good to have connections, and networking is a plus. So thank you very much for that. So go ahead, Will.
Who did he say was the coach at Pitt?
Capel.
I thought he was at Oklahoma.
Jeff Capel? So you being funny, huh, now?
I just thought he was at Oklahoma. I mean, the Dookie and all, I don't know.
You see, you got that Tar Heel, coming through right there. Tony M, how are you? Jamon M, how are you? Okay, here's a comment. It's humorous. Dana needs to retire and go manage a Chick-fil-A like Tony Levine did. But it brings up a kind of a question that some fans are beginning to wonder or say out loud. They feel that Dana Holgorsen has kind of checked out on coaching because he's not nearly as aggressive with the play calling. I mean, he doesn't even have these direct play calling duties. Shannon Dawson has those, but maybe one of Houston's quick fixes for this season is for him to resume play calling. And maybe that would help them be more aggressive on offense. What do you guys think about that?
It would certainly shake things up, but maybe this past game against Tulane will be enough to spark the force in the change. But Dana Holgorsen actually addressed that this past Monday during his news conference, and he talked about how kind of really the reasons or when Dawson first kind of had the responsibility of play calling came towards the end of last season, and he couldn't remember the exact date. It was around the Memphis game, or between the UConn and Memphis game. He decided to give Dawson those responsibilities because, in Holgorsen's words, he said that he was kind of cooked to the point where he was exhausted. He wanted to give Dawson that responsibility because it freed him up, especially in practice, to be able to go out and have more of his eye in both offense and defense and have more control over the team, is what he said. I mean, he felt comfortable with Dawson being able to play call, and that's something that they've carried over since this game, which I found it interesting. So Dawson he's been the play caller through, I guess we could count the UConn game a season ago, but really he was the play caller for the Cincinnati during the American Athletic Championship game. He was the play caller in the Auburn when they did the Birmingham Bowl. And I mean, since that point, Houston has really struggled on. Now, credit Cincinnati was Cincinnati, and then but since that point, that's when Dawson was able to take over the offense, and he said that he didn't really foresee any reason for that to change, just because, and this was quote unquote Dana Holgorsen's words, he said that he's pretty elite at play calling, and he could go back and to play calling whenever he wanted to, but he just doesn't see the need to do that. Now, this was this past Monday. It'd be interesting to see if he had any change of hearts after the way Friday's game against Tulane went.
Yeah, you let us know tomorrow if he has a change of heart. Somebody ask him that question, because the offense, it's boring. They're not aggressive. Their first halves are dull. And something is wrong. We think something is broken. And something needs to be done to fix it. So I'll ask you, Andy, because you seem to know this. Has the line been set for Friday's game against Memphis?
Let me check right now, but usually it takes a while, but I'll
But James, what do you think about fixing the offense?
I mean, to me, I don't think whose play calling matters as much, because Dawson and Holgorsen are game planning together. The game planning strategy just needs to change. Don't wait till the second half to draw up your first shot play. Like, your script. I mean, you typically think of a team scripting in their first 15 plays. Put some aggressiveness in there. You're following those. Just overall, I think, regardless of who's calling plays, they're just way too conservative on offense right now. Yeah. And as you can see, 10 first quarter points all season, trailing in, I think, every game.
Every game they've faced a deficit. Every game they faced a deficit. I think Rice was the first time they didn't face a double-digit deficit, and Tulane, they didn't face a double-digit deficit either. But yeah.
So, Will, you hear that? You cover the Ohio State. You hear that Houston has trailed in all 5 of their games this season so far. Something is wrong by halftime. Something is wrong with the offense. And yet Dana Holgorsen does not, so far, we'll find out tomorrow, does not believe there's a need to change. What do you think about that?
Just what you said earlier, he checked out. I hadn't thought about that till you said it. But if you look at this, your livelihood is on the line. You made your mark in this game as an offensive guru, but you don't want to call plays? He doesn't want it. That's it. I think he checked out. And that's a great observation. Like I said, you guys are closer. I hadn't thought of that, but if you look at the totality of what's been going on this entire season, the slow starts, the going at the media, saying I need better players, saying I ain't responsible for this, Red Bulls and vodka. He doesn't want it. He wants that 11.3 parachute. To me, as an outsider looking in, because if you don't, why would you not want to improve? If this isn't working and I want what's best, why would I not take the steps to improve?
And Andy, James, just your thoughts on that. I think that's another potential reason for the administration to consider. Because if Coach Holgorsen has checked out, if he's burned out, really, because I think he's mentioned that a couple of times. He doesn't want to get burned out. Well, if he has burnt out, if he doesn't have the fire in him to make changes, to be more aggressive on offense, then I don't believe the administration would want him for the next 4 or 5 years if he's checked out mentally, right?
Well, those comments, I forget. I think it was 2 weeks ago going into the Rice game when he was that, Andy, that was when he talked about the play calling stuff, right? Rice on Monday.
No, that was this past week.
That was this past week? Okay, my bad. This past week. But he did say, like, the reason they changed the UConn or Memphis game when Andy was mentioning was because he felt burned out. He used those exact words. He got a little burned out, which is why and also he, said he has confidence in Dawson. But like Will was saying, he used those exact words. So,
and actually, what if he's burnt out?
If he is, and that just goes back to the point I made earlier where I said that UH needs to cut its losses while it still can and before it keeps getting any further. And actually, I do have the clip in regards to Dana Holgorsen talking about the offense if you want to play that. Play calling with Dawson. I have to share screen, but I can do that. And don't
that high tech stuff, man. Go ahead. If you make it happen, make it happen.
Sweet. I believe it shows up at the bottom first. So now let me see. There we go. Just had to make sure.
No, Shannon has got those duties now. The way I phrase it, it just because I'm comfortable with them calling plays. It frees me up to do more, especially in practice. I'm still in the game planning. Between myself and Shannon and Mike Burgett, our senior analyst. I mean, we coordinate together. We all three think alike. We've been together for a long time. Last year, game 11, I was cooked a little bit, and we were playing at UConn, so I turned it over to Shannon. You know, we made the game sheet, call sheet the way I want it, the way he wants it, the way Birch wants it from an organizational standpoint, and we put it on there. And you know, I just got done with the third medium meeting on what we're going to do on third and medium. So once it's on the sheet and it's third and medium, you pick a play and you call it. You know, there's a feel to it and there's a rhythm to it. And Shan's got that. He's a pretty veteran play caller. You know, I think he's pretty elite at it, honestly. So I liked it, you know, and he's heard me for the last couple of years on how I want to manage it. Like I'll be like, huddle, change personnel groupings, you know, go 12 personnel, go 10 personnel. You know, let's get in a huddle. Let's up tempo this period. I mean, I say we talked the whole time, right? But I just liked how it flowed. And then we went into Memphis and it flowed good. And then, or I think those games were reversed, honestly. I called Memphis, he called UConn, and then he did Cincinnati and Auburn. I just liked it going into the offseason. I liked it. It took that off of me in practice to where I can sit behind the coach, the quarterback, and just kind of see different angles to it and control practice. And you know, it's helped me be in the middle of what we're doing offensively, defensively, and special teams as well. I could go back to calling it right now if I wanted to. I don't feel like that's necessary right now.
That's the full clip.
I apologize. No, I don't. What are you watching? I don't feel it's necessary. What? You're 2-3. What's not necessary? All right.
Well, they were 2-2 at that point.
So yeah, you guys let me know tomorrow if he says something different, because it's not working right now. It's not working, and I don't.
And it's interesting because we heard him right there. He said that UConn game was the first game where Dawson started calling plays. So they put up 45 points against UConn, but albeit it is Connecticut. In that American Athletic Championship game, they only scored 20 against Cincinnati. They only scored 17 in the win against Auburn. And then we know what's happened this season. They put up 37 against UTSA, but that was in triple overtime. And I can't remember wasn't it 20-20 going into the overtime period or something along those lines against Texas Tech. Similar, I think they were held to a field goal in the first half. The Kansas game, the Rice game, the Tulane game, the offense honestly hasn't been the same since after that UConn game.
You know what that sounds like? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Don't be sorry. Don't apologize. That's why you're on the show.
That sounds like it's what I'm just going back to what you said earlier. He's Tillman's friend, right?
Yes.
That's somebody that knows I don't care what y'all say. I'm not going nowhere. My man's got me. So I'm gonna do whatever. Not gonna listen to you. That's why not. I'm sitting there thinking like, man, he said some reckless stuff, but that's why. His man's got him.
And that could be the bottom line out of all this is he's Tillman's guy. And how long will it take Tilman to realize that the fans don't care about Holgorsen and UH football? Because right now the fans are frustrated. They care enough about the team to vent. But if they get to the point where they stop caring and ignore the football program, that's when it's over. Because the indifference will get them.
Did the AD address his I'm not responsible for none of that comment?
Not publicly, no. No.
Yeah, that's his man's. He good. Yeah. He good. Yeah, that tells me all I need to know. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So let's talk. Will, how was Cavaliers Media Day?
It was cool.
Let's shift some gears, talk some basketball. Something happy and positive.
Yeah.
So anything stand out to you?
Evan Mobley is huge.
He's gained weight.
Yeah, he gained weight, and he gained weight, and now his game is watch out this season for number 4 for the Cavs. He's taking his game to the next level in year 2.
How many pounds did he put on? Did he say?
He didn't. He said, well, he kind of was coy about it, him and Hahn, and really didn't say, but it's noticeable. It's noticeable.
Okay, because I know Jalen Green said he's gained about 10 pounds. KPJ, he's gained weight. His shoulders are broader.
Mm-hmm.
I know youngster Cade Cunningham, Cade gained like 15 pounds. So, part of rookie to second season, youngsters realize what they need to do to handle the grind of the NBA. So,
right.
So they're in the lab doing that. So I'm not sure. I got to read the article Tony's referencing about right here in the Chronicle yesterday about beating up Dana, but it's justified, And for folks who say, "Oh, Kris, you're a hater. You're a hater. You're a hater." Well, first, I'm a UH alum, class '94. Okay, so I call out crap when I see crap. Okay, I did not like the hire to begin with. What's Dana's record right now, guys? In Houston, 21-18.
Correct.
Yeah,
21-18, and that's with a 12-2 season, right? Mm-hmm. So you got 12 of those wins last season.
9-6. Oh, wow.
9-16 without. 12-2 with a soft schedule. soft schedule. We thought this year was a soft schedule. Well, they're 2-3. We think they're going to be 2-4 after this Friday's game against Memphis at Memphis on ESPN2. I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding. And then that's just talking about the on-the-field record. Add to it his comments, his lack of responsibility. All these things add up to me. But Will said it, and as some other alumnus said to me, he's Tilman's guy. If Tilman holds firm, then Dana's going to be Houston will be stuck with Dana next year, and they might get destroyed next year in the Big 12. So then what? And it's weird to me. I'm gonna go bring Andy and James on this. To compare and contrast. If Dana's Tilman's guy, okay. But look at the success of, I think Kelvin Sampson was really a Tilman hire because of Kelvin's time with the Rockets. And Tilman at that point was, very involved with the Rockets. He can take hold of all other kind of things. You have success. One example, a great example of success in Kelvin Sampson. And then you had Dana. I mean, this should not be that hard. Andy, James, what do you think?
Just in terms of the comparison or about what?
Tilman, in comparison, Tilman likes to win, right? I think he likes to make money. Well, at some point, keeping Dana will be sunken cost. They're going to lose money because fans are going to stop caring about football. As long as Dana's here and they're losing with it, the words he says and his actions, all that kind of stuff.
I think, Kris, did you bring it up on Let's Rage Coogs about how Dana was probably not going to leave, like when they hired him? Was that you that brought it up?
I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah, about him being a Coop, one of the reasons why they were attracted.
He was going to stay, yeah. And
right,
so I think they'd rather have a safer option. And whereas, you look at a guy like Tom Herman, who had success at UH. He obviously didn't have success at Texas or wherever he went after that. But he had success at UH, but then he left. They've had a bunch of coaches leave. So I feel like that was a good point. We may not be as good, but at least we got a guy that's going to stay.
Yeah, that was the rationale. One of the reasons to hire Dana was he wants to be Houston. He wants to be here for life. You know how they say that. They put that out there. And the administration was like, well, he's not going to leave. He won't leave us. He won't desert us for another job. Well,
which was off the heels of the Tom Herman situation.
Yeah, that line of thinking sometimes leads to bad hires. And I think Dana is a bad hire. And go ahead, Will.
Who? I don't know. I know this was 3-4 years ago, but who were the other candidates? Do we know? Or I know you guys know, or I don't know. I'm just curious.
He was at West Virginia, and he kind of left West Virginia so sudden. I'm not sure if a lot of other candidates really were leaked publicly.
Okay.
Because the deal was done pretty quickly because it was done like in December.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, who was up for other candidates for the job, but it wasn't a lot of people. I think one name was really unrealistic was Les Miles. That would have been disaster looking back on it. But names like that kind of thing. But that might have been it.
Okay. I said earlier, I don't know if it might caught him. I was like, "Go Cougars!" You might want to get ready for that Cajun draw because didn't you send me a picture?
Yeah, he was there. He was there at the game Friday. Coach O was there.
Just saying. Anybody know why? Was he?
He's good friends with Willie Fritz at Tulane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's answering Untitled Project's question. I'd like Coach Fritz to be in charge of Houston football. I like him as a coach because I think I mentioned it last week. If it came down to coaching between Coach Fritz and Coach Holgorsen, I'm picking Coach Fritz.
You did.
Well,
Can I throw out a name?
Yes, please do.
Obviously, this person has a job right now, but if the Panthers continue their trend, Matt Rule could be another guy. You've seen what he did at Temple and Baylor. He's done a good job in college of turning programs around. He hasn't had that success at the NFL, but he's proven he's been able to turn around college things, and I feel like he's on the hot seat. The Panthers haven't done anything with him, so I feel like that could also be a guy that could be a nice addition to the program.
And I think he's more of a college coach anyway.
Yeah.
He's a better college coach, yeah. And you got any names out there?
I was researching some articles that were back from December 2018 before they hired Holgorsen, and it's funny because Dayon brought this name up during Let's Reach Coogs, but apparently a lot of the candidates, so Cliff Kingsbury was at the time when he was with USC was a candidate that was mentioned. Lane Kiffin was another coach that was brought up, and then Neil Brown at the time. It seems like those were the names that were in the mix with Dana Holgorsen when Houston back then was seeking a new head coach after they had fired Applewhite. So it was among that field.
I don't see Cliff coming back to the college.
I wouldn't want Cliff if I was UH. He was average at Texas Tech.
He's average. Well,
yeah. But guys, if he said he's going to stay at Houston for life, they'll get him. They'll believe it and sign him to a long-term deal. And I said that all out. I'm sorry. But I don't believe Dana will be fired. I believe he should be fired after this season. Wait till January 1st, January 2nd. Yes, the total buyout, his contract, and the coaching staff would be like around $16 million. Okay? Lawyers, y'all can work it out. 4 years, $4 million a year. Make it work. Okay? If y'all want him gone, make it work. I go back to what I'm using Houston's own words. They say they are a big-time program. They want to be a big-time program. Well, big-time programs get rid of their mistakes. Okay? And it looks like more and more Dana Holgorsen was a mistake. Now, they could surprise Andy, James, me, Tony M, Goyo Falcon, people watching on Twitter and YouTube, surprise all of us and win the rest of their game this season. Run the table, finish, whether it be 9-3, win 7 in a row. That would shock me. But they could do that. And if they did that, then obviously they're not going to fire Dana. But if they go to 2-4 this Friday and stumble the rest of conference play, even if it's 5-3, 6-2, what record would the 6-2 make them in if they go 6-2 in conference, guys?
8-4.
We'll put them at 8-4.
8-4. And I think President Couture said, and she's never going to live it down, at least not as long as I'm alive, we fire coaches who go 8-4. Well, that's on you, ma'am. Okay.
Is that game in Memphis or at home?
At Memphis.
At Memphis.
That's 2-4.
Yeah. And were you able to find the spread, a line yet for it?
Yeah, Memphis is favored 3.5 as of now.
Ooh, well, me and you don't gamble. Well, we might need to get into gambling, man.
Can we talk about that? What I sent you? Can I
go ahead, bring it up,
man. Speaking of that I don't understand. As Chris said, I know next to nothing about gambling. All right, preface that by saying that first. But Ohio State closed yesterday, homecoming against Rutgers. Yeah, we bring in Rutgers for homecoming. Was a 39-point favorite. All right. Now, I typically don't pay attention to this. Just stuck out at the end of the game. Like, you've got to be kidding me. They were a 39-point favorite. The over-under was 59. All right. 39-point favorite, over-under 59. Ohio State beat Rutgers yesterday 49-10. A 39-point victory. 49 plus 10 is 59. I don't understand it. Mine is blown. How, Sway?
Vegas knows, man. Vegas knows.
That was absolutely crazy to me. I'm like, like I said, I don't know. I'm not a gambler. I don't know point spread, money line. I hear the terms. I don't know. That right there was absolutely mind blowing.
Yep. It's amazing how it works out, and I mean exact like that. But we're going to wrap it up. So I'm going around the screen. Also, folks, remind everybody you can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio. So you hear the audio version of this. If you don't want to see our four handsome faces, you can listen to our four smooth voices. I want to do it that way. That's fine. But Andy, how can folks find you on social media, sir?
Follow me on Twitter at Yanez_5. Also, be sure to check out the new Pawd Slama Jama YouTube account at PAWDSLAMAJAMA on YouTube. We have we're now at 272 subscribers, so we're actually pretty close to picking up. I think we've picked up around 80 over the course of the past week, and I think that's a big kudos to the men's basketball team with them kicking off practice this past week. So we are 27.2% of the way to the road to 1,000. So be sure, if you haven't done so already, to subscribe to that. And of course, Let's Rage Coogs will be back this Friday after the conclusion of Houston and Memphis, 6:30 p.m. kickoff. So it'll probably be around 10 p.m. show, roughly.
James, how can folks find you?
Oh, I was going to say before that, you can add one more. Untitled Project just said he's going to subscribe. So, there you go. But yeah, you can find me online on Twitter at JDM2186. And then all my coverage regarding anything UH related is at thedailycougar.com.
Willy Gibson, how can folks find you, sir?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at WillGibson7 and Facebook at Will Knows.
And you can find me, see it on there, ZHR Review. Back to follow us on Folks Talk Sports on Twitter. This show is also available on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. We got a Folks Talkin Sports playlist, which you can click on for all our shows. One final note, I'm getting ready to head to the Rockets Spurs preseason game number 1 for both teams. This is a note for the fans of UH men's basketball. I'm not going to say the team, the NBA team, but there was a scout, NBA scout, I'll talk to, and ask him his thoughts on what he saw from Houston men's basketball practice first week. He said, it's early, but y'all got a heavy hitter in Jarace Walker, a heavy hitter. So just keep that in mind, folks, as we close out this edition of Folks Talkin Sports.
And it was a pretty high, it's a high-profile team too, Chris.
Yes, high-profile team. Yes. So heavy hitter. Jarace Walker is a heavy hitter. And he has bought into the culture. culture for Houston Cougars men's basketball. So that is something to hang your hat on, UH fans. Hoops is closer and closer It's round the corner.
They have a countdown for that too.
Guys, how are we for next Sunday?
I'm good. Same. Do the Rockets? Well, we'll figure it out. I'm good for Sunday.
We'll figure it out.
36 days. 36 days, 3 hours, 29 minutes, and 28 seconds until November 7th, 7 p.m., according to UH's website.
And that will be the first Let's Rage Cougs for men's basketball for this season on November 7th. So, yes, tune in for that. As always, fans, thank you very much. Viewers, supporters, we appreciate your time, taking time to watch us, listen to us. Until next time, take care. Peace. What was I say?
All right, my fault. I apologize. It took forever to come back up. I told you weekly for Nick Casario, because I know he's watching. Nick Casario, I got to bring up C.J. Stroud because that's the number one pick of the draft for the Houston Texans. They lost today.
Yes.
So,
yes, sir. Speaking of Nick Casario, he was scouting at TDSU Stadium. He was scouting Tulane players at that game. So.
Wow, Tulane players. That's what I heard.
You didn't say Houston players. You said Tulane players.
Well, at least in the pregame warm-ups, he was watching on the Tulane side of the field, and he had scouts all over the place. It looked like they were heavily focused on someone on the Tulane rosters, but who knows as the game progressed if they were keeping eyes on some of the other guys on the other side. But pregame, the focus was on Tulane.
So let's not end on that down note. So once again, UH men's basketball fans, and NBA Scout says, Jarace Walker, y'all got a heavy hitter right there. So until next week, take care. Peace.